G'day, snappers, and welcome to the Sunday Snap, coming to you through the Ballr podcast feed. This is the podcast where we give our snap reactions to the NRL SuperCoach round that was. My name's Jono, coach are hungry for more, and with me to talk about all the big news that are around out. He's back. He is the salt and the spicy takes, the Prince of Pods, the People's Assistant Coach, Tubes. How are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. I'm fired back up for another week as SuperCoach. I spent a week back in Reggie's and let Cracker come on last week. Honestly, I don't want to dwell too much. A week is a long time in SuperCoach, and I'm happy to be back. It's a long time in the NRL. I don't think there's been a worse round of SuperCoach in all of history for someone that actually tries to play the game properly. Anyway, so I bounced back after going about, I think, 550 points behind the average last weekend, and yeah, I'm happy to be back. I'm all guns blazing heading into Magic Round.
Bit of soul searching, Tubes, but you're back and ready to go. You're going to be. You reckon you're sticking with it for the rest of the year now?
At least until Magic Round. That's where I've given myself as a cutoff, because we're both you and I are heading to Magic Round this year, and so. I'm trying to commit. I'm trying to be a head-to-head player, and it's not that hard, is it? Me and you're in at least one cash league together that we've been in, and I've never really taken it seriously. But this week I thought I'd try. Just knocked off some rabbit that I was playing. Don't know who it is. But yeah, it was good times.
Oh, very good. Well, Tubes, speaking of Magic Round, Ballr's got some big news around Magic Round. Ballers in the Ballers Only Discord would have already seen this in there. But Ballr are having a Magic Round league. It is a one-off Magic Round competition. No overall rank, no grind, just one round where you've got to go big, Tubes. The prize is a juicy one. State of Origin pack. You get 3 tickets to a 2026 game of your choice, as well as either a New South Wales or Queensland jersey. So if you want to be eligible to join up for that, got to head over to ballr.live, find the league section, and join up. Takes literally a matter of seconds if you already signed up to SuperCoach. And pretty exciting, Tubes.
Yeah, very exciting. I think, it's nice to announce it a few weeks out. Bit of strategy for those like myself that are already out of the overall head-to-head that might want to win some Origin tickets.
Can I ask what the strategy is?
I went straight on and tried to find out who the Storm are playing that weekend because I thought that might be good. But unfortunately, it's Parramatta, so I won't be bringing in anyone from Para into my side. So there's still time to figure out a bit of a different strategy. Certainly, you don't want many Raiders in your team coming into Magic Round. And yeah, there's a little bit in there. Like if you look, I've already had a look at this Magic Round. There's that Sunday afternoon 2 p.m. game. It's the Titans versus the Knights.
Points fest.
I can't see how that's not going to be a points fest. So if I have 6 or 7 Titans and Knights players coming into Magic Round, I'll be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, that might be Fletcher Sharp time, that, Tubes.
Hold on. I've just realised we're here talking about Magic Round. We've talked about my weekend. Daddy 5. Daddy top 5. Is that where we're heading this week after your score?
I hope so. I've had I think 1550 odd, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more around that mark. But yeah, it feels like a really strong score. Obviously, I was sitting at number 9 coming into the week. But tell you what, Tubes, you put me on. You were looking at a couple of the people above me to see how far I might climb. Jeez, there's some big scores at the top.
There is, but I had a good look around. I think you're still Daddy top 5. I just think that first and second have sort of had a massive weekend and might be a couple of hundred clear of the next closest. But yeah, obviously big swings in this game for this year. It seems at the moment there's just so many scoring tons every week.
Yeah,
popular players.
It's crazy. It's hard to keep up with sometimes. And literally just the wrong captaincy choice, one player different to someone else. And that can make a huge difference in scores, as your brother Matt found out last week with not taking on Latrell. One week and one player that you're tossing up can have a huge difference at the moment in SuperCoach.
Yeah. Now, I digressed us. So how do I actually sign up for Magic Round? Because I genuinely haven't looked. Is it the same as the overall prize league? Like I go to Ballr, I hit join the league and then I'll join the league in SuperCoach and it'll just be that 1 week thing?
It is literally just as easy as that. And there's already scores going in, but Ballr are only going to be looking at the 1 week of Magic Round for this tournament. So, yeah, it should be a lot of fun. It's a good extra little incentive. Magic Round's already Whether you're there, I imagine I've never been. We're going this year. If you're there in the flesh, it'll be fun. I find it fun when I'm just sitting at home watching on telly as well. But this is an extra little incentive for everyone to get around. But Chiefs, let's get into the bones and the meat of the pod now. Let's start off with the rage trades.
Are you little?
And we are kicking off with one who a lot of people were feeling ragey about on Thursday night, Tubes. This comes in from Smelly Bwef, and it's Noah Martin, who's had a 29 on the weekend, got injured in the Appy tackle that Appy Cottersow is now suspended for 3 weeks. Looked like a knee, but I believe further news has come out to say there's an ankle injury. So he tried to play through it, came off 3 minutes into the second half. What do you think, Tubes? You're a Noah Martin owner. Is this going to be the push that you need to sell him, or is there any merit to holding?
I can't. I suppose it'll be still TBA on how many weeks he's out for. Obviously, it's not great having 29 in the rolling average. Probably for those that own Lasardi, don't own Lasardi, if he's named next week, that might be an easy downgrade. But otherwise, yeah, I suppose it'll just be wait and see. I'm certainly not ragey about him having to be a trade. It's just an unfortunate injury. But if he's out for more than probably, we just said Brady's got the bye in Magic Round. So if he's out for 2 weeks, then he's missing the next 3 to 4. So yeah, he'd probably then have to go.
Yeah, I think if he's named to start this week, like I can definitely make a big case to hold him because he obviously when they lose guys for Origin, you expect him to get good minutes, and they got pretty good coverage, the Raiders, which I went through with Matt Naman on the Tuesday show. If people want to hear more about buy coverage, there's a clip up on YouTube of that. But yeah, I think I'll try and hold if I can. But I think it's a fully understandable sell. Like you said, especially for people who might not own Adu Lasardi, it's a pretty easy way to downgrade. Like, what's he going to be? It's still going to be a downgrade of like over 200K to get down to Lasardi and open up some things for your team. So it's fair. The other one, Tubes, another really popular preseason guy who's on our rage trades this week, comes in from Rock Lords, Trey Mooney. So Trey Mooney's has had a 37 today, Tubes. He was moved to the bench before kickoff, which is a bit of a blow for owners. Still managed to pump out 47 minutes. Not a very good game for Trey. I would probably say his weakest game in first grade. He missed 8 tackles and then threw an offload on his own try line that went straight to a Panther for a try. What do you think about Trey Mooney? Is it a similar situation to Noah Martin where it's okay to sell, you could hold? What do you think?
No, I think you got to sell. Yeah, it's funny, the 500K in front row forward, it's so valuable this year.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about those front rowers, but Twal, May, Ford, even you're not selling Ho. Like if you're, depending what your front row's looking like, Trey's the weakest link. And I'm surprised he's still 34% owned. I think if you still own, he's got to go.
Yeah, you're right. Especially because if you don't feel confident playing him, I think that's the bit of a difference between Noah Martin. If Noah Martin's named on an edge with no Hudson Young in the team, I feel confident playing Noah Martin. With Trey Mooney, I don't think I would feel confident anymore. So I agree with you, Tubes. That is the difference between those two, even though they're a similar price. The last rage trade candidate, Tubes, Tommy Jenkins, Milky Jenkins. This comes in from Kingslayer. Finally, the Milk has had a game where he hasn't scored. I believe, Tubes, you called it. The Milk has finally gone a little bit sour. It's his first game all year where he hasn't had 2 tries. He's going to come into next week losing 70K, so just a touch over 800, but with a break even up around 140. Huge. What do you reckon, Tubes?
It's a tough one. It is, like I said, the Milk's gone sour. He's felt like he's got out of jail for a couple of weeks. We've gone to the fridge. It's been expired on the carton.
The sniff test?
The sniff test, and it was fine. So you poured a nice glass, and it's gone away well. But this week, it finally had to get poured down the sink. And yeah, 41 it doesn't do it for owners. It's obviously still not a disaster. Like 41 without any try or any attack. Like that's you're hoping for that. It's really just that 876K, whether or not you want to cash in. There's whispers, obviously, potential for Origin. I'd probably be holding if I owned. I'm certainly glad I didn't jump on him. But yeah, he's only one more bad score away from, I guess, losing another 100K. So it's just whether or not you want to do that for cash, or you think that he's an own for the rest of the season, which he plays for Penrith. So I think that he is.
Yeah, they got games coming up. They got Manly next week, and even though Manly have been on a good run playing Fosball, it still feels like they could concede points on the right day. I don't think I'm all the way convinced on Manly. Then they play the Raiders down here in Canberra, and then they go against the Dragons in round 11 in Magic Round. So you would love to own Tommy Jenkins up against the Dragons in Magic Round. So, yeah, I think there's a case there to hold unless you really need to free up money to do other things in your team, in which case you could make a case for it. Tubes, let's get down now to the ready to explode players. Also coming in from our Ballers Only Discord. And Tubes, I like these ready to explode players. These are a little bit kind of old school. They're not guys who've had necessarily huge scores this round. The first one comes in from Michael, and it's Zach Hosking, who's 470k with a break even of 43. So he had a 67 in base plus power in 80 minutes on the weekend. Obviously, Josh Papali'i's out for a while. Huddy's gone for another week. Then Origin's coming up soon. Noah Martin could be out for a while. We don't know the news yet. What do you think of Zachy Hosking?
It feels like the right time if you're a Hosking believer. I think what do you have? 67 base plus power on the weekend, break even of 43. This goes hand in hand with the Noah Martin news though. Like if Noah Martin's out for 3 to 4 weeks, Hosking he has a very nice role on the edge, obviously with Hudson Young gone, but he's a bit of a mop up man for them. So during the Origin period, he's likely to get good minutes, whether that's solely on an edge or through the middle as well. He's just not super exciting for me, but he certainly could do a job at 470k if you're looking to free up some cash, but getting a playable player in your 18 over this Origin, over this next run.
I think what you said, Tubes, is a good point. Like you want Noah Martin out for 3 or 4 weeks to really take a plunge, because Hosking, when he gets 80 minutes in the past, whether he was at Brisbane, Penrith, at the Raiders, when he gets those big minutes, he scores really well in SuperCoach. So if he's getting the minutes, I think he's a good pickup. But if Noah Martin's still around, Huddy Young back next week, I wouldn't be convinced they're there straight away. Like he's got down to that price this year because of his role within the Raiders team. Choose the next one. Oh, sorry, go on, mate.
I was just going to say, I know you got a haircut on Thursday night, but that beard's looking a little bit rough. Might need a hot off the clippers there, John.
I'll make an appointment. Tubes, the next one comes in from our very own C-Mac. C-Mac's putting forward Fletcher Sharp as a ready to explode play. Now, Fletcher's only had a 38 today. He's lost another 60k. The break even is still up over 103. But what I think a lot of people are waiting to see, Tubes, is that eye test, see him have a game where he looks a little bit more free. And this is the first time today that I can recall where I thought he looked to be running pretty well. Holbrook also said in the pre-game that Ponga could be back as soon as next week, which kind of finally gets the Knights back to that spine combination they wanted to start the year with. What do you think about Fletch? Is next week the week, or is it still a bit too soon with that big break even?
Who they got next week, the Knights? I mean, they played the Panthers today. I obviously feel very good about C-Mac giving him the pass on the eye test. They play the Bunnies, but it is a 2 p.m. game on Sunday. I know today was as well. I think you could go early on him next week, especially if Pong is back. I believe Bradman Best is meant to be back, and Greg Marju as well. I do worry about their pack up against the Bunnies next week and what that's going to look like, but he'll definitely be in a lot of sides over the next 2 weeks. It's just deciding whether or not next week is the way to go. He looks so good in Magic Round, in Vegas Round when they did have their full spine, and it seems like he's getting back to be fully fit. So he's definitely a target for me, and I'd say most people before round 10.
Yeah, I'm taking a huge look this week. I'm thinking potentially, Tubes, he might come into the flex position, and see you later. Ethan Sanders is one trade that I'm eyeing off this week, but we'll see how that sits with me. Tubes,
I know we didn't. I know we'll probably talk about him, but it goes hand in hand. Like it'd be a lot of people would be selling Purdue, so Purdue's back down to 610k or something like that after this week. So it's only a 20k. It's still a 20k drop to Fletcher Sharp. So
no, 80k. Fletcher will drop to 530 after this round.
Ah, of course. Yes. So, yeah, I'd say for a lot of people, if that gives you cash to do another trade that you want to do as well, I really don't think that it's a sideways move from my perspective.
Tubes, let's get into the actual round review now, starting off with that Tigers versus Raiders game at Leichhardt. And we are going to jump straight into using our Ballr player comparison tool over at Ballr.live to compare the two West Tigers front rowers, Alex Twal and Terrell May. Tubes, I love the Ballr.live match center when I'm owning these two in the same game, because if you like that little dopamine hit of opening Ballr.live match center, seeing your players' points go up, these two aren't going to frustrate you. Every single time, you can open it once a minute and their points are going up. So Twal has had 125 with his first try assist since 2018, 107 in base plus power in an 80-minute game, and Terrell May has played 63 minutes and pumped out 79, all in base plus power. Geez, we had a good chat about Twal on the phone on Friday morning. I just want you to share your thoughts of what you're seeing with Twal this year.
I just can't believe how... I can't believe what I'm seeing, that it's Alex Twal. Like, I mean, he's always been a meat and potatoes man, and it was always just about minutes. But it's like him and Terrell May have just done a few sessions together, and May's just taught him, oh no, you just run up to them and you bump them off, and then you turn around and offload straight away. And then whatever's Benji's program has been in this preseason, it has done wonders for this Tigers pack. And I think Alex Twal has been the biggest beneficiary. Like, he almost looks like a man amongst boys in some instances. Like, he was ragdolling some of these Raiders team. I have not seen a more dominant whole forward pack display than that second half on Thursday night of the Raiders versus the Tigers. It was astonishing, and it was led by Twal and May, or Tway.
Hey, I like that. Jeeves, you also said to me on the phone about how it looks like he's carved from granite now. Like, he just looks so big and strong. But the other thing, it is when you own a player, you watch them so closely, like your eyes are fixed to them. And he just doesn't look tired. He went for 80 minutes, and he never once had his hands on his hips. Like, I was watching Taniela Paseka, I had to play this week, and he's a bit of a Taniela waiter secker. The hands were constantly on the hips and he was behind play. Whereas Twal plays out 80 and he's just constantly there. Like, he's never behind. He's always jogging back quickly from a kick, getting ready to take a hit up in the next set. I'm blown away by how good he looks. I could never have predicted this coming into this year.
Yeah, he's honestly, he's just got that look about him. It's that I believe his background is Lebanese, but I just picture this Mediterranean of a man. Like, if he took his shirt off, like, you'd be carving anything off all of his muscles at the moment, because he's just like unbelievably strong, and I can't even imagine what he looks like with his shirt off right now. Put a statue of him up.
How did we get there?
He looks like a man of steel. Like, that's how he's playing. So it's like, just think about like going and poking him on like a pec and it just like breaking your finger.
I'm going to change topics because I'm worried about how far this could go. I don't want to hear what other body parts of his you want to touch. I don't know what's going on. But let's go to Adam Dewey Tubes, who he had 113 points. I think he might be the new official accumulator. Like, his ability to dummy and go means he just takes more runs than any other halfback in the comp. He obviously had 2 tries in this game, but even take those away, now that he's got the goal kicking back, it just feels like his floor is incredibly high.
Yeah. I think we spoke about him earlier this weekend as well. Like, he feels like he can't be stopped barring injury. Like, as in, he's just got this role now that looks so good.
Yeah.
His ability to dummy and run, like, more like I wouldn't say his inability to pass, but he certainly doesn't love passing. So he and they're playing to it. I think that him and Luai combining again very well, but just the way that they are setting them up, I thought that they looked very good this week against the Raiders. I do think that they didn't look fantastic the week before, like in the red zone against the Broncos. So I don't know if it's different attacking structures play into their hands a little bit. But yeah, he's playing behind an absolutely dominant pack. Loves running the ball, kicks goals. Yeah, like I said, I can't see, unless he gets picked for Origin or unless there's an injury, I can't see him being beaten in that sort of, third halfback role spot.
Yeah, I'd say if he does miss Origin selection, which you're right, he's a chance, but he feels absolutely essential over the bye period, I think, if he doesn't make Origin. Chiefs, Taylor May is going to be a sneaky little pod for a few this week. He had 95 on the weekend with a try and an assist. He has only played 2 80-minute games this year. So because he got hurt in round 1, he's still losing 30K this week. Averaging 44 in base plus power across his 2 games. Could you, with the Tigers' dominance, make a play for him as a pod at sub 600K?
I think you could for sure. Like a lot of people talked up like Casey McLean and that sort of Panthers left edge. This Tigers left edge can be humming. He looks strong, and they definitely look to go left. And Luai, even though he can be frustrating kicking off that left-hand edge, I do think that with May in the team, like they do look to pass a fair bit more. I don't think I'll go there. I think Danny Boy is going to be having a big hard look at him. I think he's a Danny Boy man, and but yeah, I certainly couldn't put anyone off him.
And Danny Boy certainly is getting into his pod hunting season now, and Taylor May is a good one, I think, as far as pods go. The last one out of the Tigers, Tubes, just a big KPP. Kai Pearce-Paul came off after 53 minutes for a HIA, which he failed, so he's going to miss next week. So that's a bad beat for all the KPP owners. That sucks.
He's now Matt's most hated NRL player because he bought in KPP last week instead of Latrell or Tallis Duncan. So not that he's actually done anything wrong, but that'll take some beating as a bad, what could have been.
Let's get down to the next game, Tubes, the Cowboys versus your Sharkies. And even though you're a Sharkies fan, it must have brought you a smile as an owner to see Scotty Drinkwater bust out 127 with a try and 3 assists.
It did until the Sharks. I still thought the Sharks were going to win all game, even when they were down, I think 8 or 14 with enough time left. I thought the Sharks were going to still reel the Cowboys in. Like they looked, it was a points fest. It looked flimsy in defense, and I thought the Sharks would get it all together. But yeah, Drinkwater absolutely exploded in that first half and just did all the things that he can do. He's an interesting one because he doesn't have that goal kicking, but this is his second 120 plus in 3 weeks. So I can imagine that he's tempting out there for people that are looking for, they traded Turbo this week and they haven't yet locked in a third gun half. What do you do? He definitely is an option as a third best fullback or top 3 fullback at the moment.
I think if people are going to do it, they have to do it now. He misses both rounds 15 and 18 for those major buy rounds, but he does play 12. So I think if there's people tempted by Drinky, you've got to make that call sooner rather than later before the back end of the year. The Cowboys do run into a few buys. Like I think their first buy of the year is that round 15, which means they've got 3 left for the year after that. So get on it soon if you're interested. Chiefs, Helam Lukey was a little bit Helam lucky. Got one of the great junk tries, didn't he?
I'm laughing at your pun finally, not because it was a good one, but because I was trying to predict which one you were going to do. I thought you might do Dukey or something like that for Junkie. But yeah, he just had his normal game and then got a lucky try at the end. But well done to owners, including yourself, to just keep it ticking over. He's going to be 620, 640K this week. And yeah, he plays that first bye. If he doesn't play Origin, you just let the good times keep rolling.
Keep him rolling. Jeremiah Nanai, Tubes, just good to see him back. He had 35 points, came off the bench and played out the last 59 minutes. So you'd expect him to start, potentially play 80. Looking thick, Jeremiah Nanai. So good to see him back on the footy field. We'll see how that impacts the Cowboys structures and potentially could impact someone like a Helam Lukey. And the last one, Tubes, Jackson Purgey. You gave a bit of a shout to him at the top of the pod. 33 points. That includes a line break. He only had 24 in base plus power. And I think the big thing is that he just hasn't seen that same early ball. He hasn't had those opportunities as much at the moment for the Cows in the attacking red zone to just kind of bamboozle his defender in front of him. So it's a tricky one because he's got a break even of 127. He's now lost over 100K in the last 2 weeks alone. It's a tricky one in terms of what owners are going to do with him. What do you reckon?
Dogs, Eels, Roosters, Bunnies, the next 4.
It's a mixed draw.
it's a mixed straw. It's not the best. It's not the worst. Dogs this Friday night, and it feels like a bit you don't know what's going to happen when the Dogs show up at the moment.
Box of chocolates.
But I really like that Sharp trade. I feel like Sharp. Everyone knows that as long as he stays fit, he's the 581 for the rest of the season. If you're doing that for 80K this week, I've thought about it while we've been speaking. I actually really like that trade. If you're planning on getting Sharp in, I'd be doing it this week with Purdue with a break even of 127, Sharp a break even of 100. I really don't mind the idea of getting Sharp in as a downgrade from Purdue.
I think it's one of the trickiest decisions of the week that people are going to have to tackle there. Choose on the Sharks side of things, finally, the owners, the very patient 8% have been rewarded. He had 128, 3 tries. I actually love it. He got posted in our Ballers Only Discord as a rage trade at halftime. I can't remember who it was, but just saying, like, I've had enough of this bloke. He doesn't look like he's run around, doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. And then Dan, bang. Oh, Dan was certainly posting it in our WhatsApp group. But I wonder, Tubes, like, maybe Cam McInnes all along was just the man who needed to come back into the Sharkies team to get the left edge clicking. Like Dan speculated it might have been Teague Wilton. Maybe he was actually having a ball-playing lock, and McInnes didn't play many minutes, but they looked good while he was on.
They did look good while he was on. It also might have been having to play the Cowboys in North Queensland and put on 34 points.
Yeah,
could have got it
probably
done.
Helps.
I think that's great for those that held on to Iro. And this is going to sound strange, but you almost feel disappointed 128 with 3 tries. Like, if you said at the start of the year that he had 3 tries, you'd be thinking 150 plus. His base just hasn't been there as much as it has been, I think, for this year, or base and power. So, yeah, obviously, great hold, potentially a bring in, and we'll just wait and see if, as you say, the McInnes factor. I think it's just more of a Trindle factor and what he's thinking about doing or what he's doing. And I don't think that he or any other Sharks player knows until the game's on.
Tubes, one of your favourite Sharkies is big Sifa Talakai, who had 117, 2 tries, 62 in base plus power. Raymond is due back in maybe even next week or a couple of weeks at worst, it seems like, from the Sharkies medical reports I was looking at. So he's not going to be an option. But seriously, if there's ever a couple of injuries and this guy can just jag a full-time backline spot, he's going to be so highly owned.
Oh, when he was named in the centres, I think the first thing a lot of people did was you went and found out that Ramian news. Where I hadn't even really done it up until that point. But yeah, even if Ramian was just out for another 3 or 4 weeks, you would have loved to have jumped on him. But yeah, well done, Sifa. He did miss a few tackles though. He did get run around a bit. He's not quite quick enough. That's his biggest downfall in the centres.
I think, we're mentioning Dan a lot this episode, but Danny Boy had a good one. He said, like, if there's a world where you could attack Sifa plays centre, defence, you get him in the middle where he's not going to get run around as easily, will be the dream scenario. Chiefs, Nico Hines has busted out 113 points, 2 assists, 2 line breaks, 2 line assists, just the stat sheet stuffer that he is. I don't really want to analyse him too much other than to say, if you didn't own both Nico Hines and Adam Dewey, which one do you think you'd bring into your team this week?
Nico. I think I'd bring in Nico's no chance of playing Origin, and I can't say the same about Dewey.
Yeah.
So I'd be bringing in Nico.
That's why it's good to have you back, Tubes. Just know you didn't know that question was coming. You weren't put off by it. You just give your honest opinion straight away. That's why we love you on the snap. Tubes, Blake Brayley, he got 110 points. I thought he looked really dynamic for the Sharks. Probably your best player in terms of actual real-life footy. He only had 4 runs, but it was him getting out of dummy half and creating space, and obviously he scored a try. He's just really proven himself as the premium hooker option, even over Harry Grant in a terrible-looking Melbourne.
Yeah. Who would have thought Melbourne were going to get beat 6 in a row? But a lot of people thought this was what Brayley could do, and he's doing it. I do think he should play Origin. I know that'll be a discussion point, and I don't want to try and get in Laurie's head, but I think he's definitely the form hooker of the NRL this season.
All right, next game, Chiefs, the Broncos versus the Bulldogs. Not much to discuss really out of this one. Big X, Xavier Willison, though, he was the number one talking point for Supercoaches. He got brought in by a few this week. He nearly got up to 10% ownership overall. He had 104 points, 75 minutes, try late in the game, a nice little junky one, and 81 in base plus power. He's really passing the eye test at the moment, Big X.
Are you going to bring him in? Have you looked at their sort of buy schedule? Like it's a pretty...
They have terrible buy coverage.
Yeah, but like he won't play any Origin or anything like that.
Yeah, so, they have 3. They're one of only 2 teams who have 3 buys out of the 6 buy rounds. They have 3 buys. It's a little bit tough. Okay. He's definitely still a good option. Obviously, just at the price and with how good he looks, but I'm not sure where I would bring him into my team. I think I've got to prioritise Lasardi.
Yeah. So 550, he'll be 550K this week.
Yeah.
Front row, second row, forward, dual. You'd love to be able to potentially get him in the back row, I think, and sort of lock him away for the next 6 weeks and sort of trade into a proper gun for 700K, which I think is what he will get to if he keeps this role going with the injuries that they've got. 81 base plus power. Unbelievable. And just shout out to my man, young gun, Ben Tolte. Just keeps his rise through the ranks. Yeah. Looked very good as a starting prop this week.
I almost chucked him. If it wasn't for Carrigan back next week, he was making the run sheet, Big Ben Tolte. But you found a way to get him in there anyway. Tubes, from the Dogs, like you said, they're just such a mixed bag at the moment. That's been seen in Jacob Preston's form. He was pretty highly purchased a couple of weeks ago. He's had 53, all in base plus power. But, yeah, since that Panthers game, I don't think people are super happy. He had 60 and 67 minutes last week. Another one with Origin potentially on the horizon. So just hasn't quite worked out, has it?
No. Yeah, mixed bag, up and down. They've got I don't mind their run coming up, the Dogs, and I think there'll be some relevant Dogs coming up. But they start off with the Cowboys this Friday night. Then they got the Dolphins, the Sharks, who obviously just let in 40 against the Cowboys, and then the Storm, who aren't really doing it either. So I don't mind this run coming up for the Dogs, and Preston could be a big beneficiary on that right-hand edge.
I think one guy who is going to get highly discussed this week is Jonathan Sewer, who has played his second game, which means he's on the bubble next week. He's going to have a break even around -20. He had 50 all in base on the weekend. And there's a couple of things going his way. Montoya our man, Marcelo Montoya, had an absolute shocker on the weekend. Like, I was seeing Bulldogs fans making compilations on TikTok of all the bad errors and misreads he had in defence, and it wasn't short. Prospective owners, I guess the thing is, Tubes, you just want a little bit more info to the Dogs regarding Kiddos and Tuala. Nothing has come out. Like, they both have injuries, but absolutely no information has been put out there about those two. And you'd like to have some info, because if they both would have come back quickly, even if Montoya drops out of the team, Sewell would still likely go. Yeah,
true. So, yeah, I suppose we're just waiting for info. I'd really hope that he gets at least a couple of weeks, Sewell. I don't mind him as that downgrade option.
He looks a good player.
Very playable, left-hand winger, both with base plus power, but also just the ability for tries with that run that I just went through.
Yeah.
Against the Cowboys this week. So I'm probably going to bring him in as long as he's named, and I think we're going to get 1 or 2 weeks. But I'm still holding Macassini and Moses Leo, so I need a bit of a downgrade in those areas. So I really don't mind Sewell at 216K.
Yeah, I'm going to be listening to our mate Brian, the NRL physio on the Magic Sponge, to hear if he's got any updates on Tuala or Kiddos. And hopefully there's something coming out soon. Let's get down to the next game, Tubes, the Dragons versus the Roosters. And we've got to start off with your man, Sammy Walker, Tubes. And I have this statistic, not from my own number crunching, but courtesy of Tubes, who looked at the numbers of Sam Walker since the bye, which coincides, Tubes, when you sold him. And he's averaging 100 since the Roosters come back from the bye.
Yeah, he averaged 44 when he was part of the Tubes pods. And yet when he got dropped, that was just the kick up the bum he needed. And he's averaged 100 ever since, which is across 3 games. So not a small sample size.
No, not small.
Obviously the Roosters smashed the Dragons in this one. But I would say
62 to 16.
62 to 16. But I would say that since the bye, the reason I sold Sam Walker was because the game before the bye, I think it was against Manly, it felt like they were going back to, it could be any week, whether it's Cherry or Walker being the more dominant half. I would say since the bye, I don't know what they worked on, what they trained on. It's been Sam Walker being the absolute dominant half 3 games
and floating.
in a row. Yeah, floating both sides, and doing it all. He obviously had a very good game and they smashed the Dragons. He still does very silly things. I would not be getting him over Nico, Cleary or Dewey. But yeah, he's certainly looking a lot better and what I thought he could be when I brought him in at the start of the year.
Yeah, and I think if you don't own him now, his price is a little bit too high. Like, this was the week to do it if you wanted to. He's jumping up nearly 90K. Even though he's got the small break even, I think that, too far north of this is getting a little bit too much for me for Sammy Walker. James Tedesco, I think between VCs and Cs was the most VC player of the round. He had 108, didn't disappoint, trying to assist. He wasn't into foot on the throat territory though, Teddy. I think once the game was kind of done and dusted, he was happy just kind of floating through, but still a really good performance. He was the most purchased player this week and people are happy with that.
Yeah, looked great. I think 40% ownership, surely in that sort of in the distance from me, but that top 10% owners is much higher than that because he's a must-have, I think.
What about Mark Tubes? He's up to 750K now. Is that just too far gone? Even this year, like the base plus power's up. We've spoken about it on a few pods now. Last year it was low 40s. This year it's high 40s. Is 750K too much now for big Mark?
I don't think so. I think you want to know about Origin. He's again. It seems that wing spot is really up for grabs, and it seems like I thought that he was no chance given he's going back to Origin. But again, I can't put myself in Laurie's head, so I'm not sure. I don't think the price is wrong. It's just whether or not you'd want to know that you're getting him over that buy schedule if you're paying that price now.
Absolutely, and Tubes, couple of pods from the Roosters. Robert Toyer, he had a try and 2 assists. I think he's a Tubes pod, isn't he, as well?
Tubes pod looks good. I think he had a try disallowed as well in this game, or an assist. Yeah, try disallowed with a line break in a try. So
and
it was right call, but it was still just.
It's still that frustrating feeling because it feels like Toyer's now left a few points. He had the really controversial one from a couple of weeks ago when a lot of people first brought him in. So kind of that frustration compounds because it was Sia Wong right into a defender, and it wouldn't have prevented the try at all. But it's just a letter of the law. No try, just frustrating.
He looks great though from an NRL perspective. If he just gets early ball, he can set it up for Marky Mark on that right edge. But yeah, not sure. I wouldn't be bringing him in from watching him closely the last few weeks either.
Another pod, Tubes, who might be one that you like is Sia Wong, who's only 1.5% owned. He's going to be about 630K. Break even to 41. Tubes, he's had 71 in base plus power this game and a try. Since he's got the starting role in round 2, he has averaged 72.5 and he's only scored 2 tries across that stretch, which has actually been the last 2 weeks. So not a big attacking bump. And really importantly, still getting 80 minutes a game, even with all the troops starting to return. Like obviously Victor Radley's back in the squad now. Reece Robson's back and Connor Watson's in the forward rotation. And he's still getting that 80-minute role on the edge. It's on that nice little right-hand side with Toyer and Marky Mark. There's got to be a bit of merit in Sia Wong as a pod.
Yeah, it doesn't play Origin, I don't believe. So I think he's a definite option. He's great on that right-hand edge, and that's definitely where a lot of attack is going. It's just the second row forward's so stacked, it feels like. I mean, there's a lot of positions that are, but they've got quite a nice run. I was just looking it up while we were talking about Marky Mark. They've got the Broncos this week, obviously down on troops, and that's at Allianz in Sydney. Then they got the Titans, then the Cowboys, and then the bye-in round 12, and then the Storm. So the next 3 before that round 12 bye, they could easily be points fests as well. So really anyone on the Roosters is on the radar. Apart from probably Daniel Tupu, who I think scored 1 or 2 tries and had 40 points. I think that right side is the real dominant side for the Roosters.
And definitely, even Hugo Savala, like if he is again this week named with Billy Smith in an extended bench spot, he's worth a chat too. We'll save that for Tuesday if that happens. On to the Dragons tube. Sedu 2 they scored 3 tries. Sedu scored 1 and set up the other 2, just like everyone expected. Sedu is now going to be, he's going to be nearly 500K, 475K with a break even of 14. So I think all of us Sedu 2 owners, which is most of the people listening, I think we just enjoy this last couple of weeks, and then as soon as he peaks, see you later, mate.
Yeah, I mean, just another bad decision from myself earlier in the year. The one cheapy centre wing that's going off, and I sold him. I don't know, whenever he got dropped. He's honestly, I don't know how great he is as an NRL player, but as a SuperCoach player, he's just a perfect base plus power man on the wing that can finish a try. So yeah, enjoy it while it lasts. That's for sure.
He's a strong little man. All right, let's use that Ballr player comparison tool again, Tubes, to compare my favourite brothers in SuperCoach outside of the Rickses, obviously. It's the Couchman brothers, Tauchi and Rouchy. Toby's had a 74, really good, all in base plus power, 71 minutes under the new coach. I know there was people saying how will his role look under the new coach. Apparently, it's going to look pretty good. And then Ryan, or Rouchy, he's had 52 in 74 minutes, all on the right edge. What's your takeaway from the Couchy boys this game?
I love them. Like, I don't think they'll ever play for the Sharks. Certainly not as a duo, but I can't wait to cheer for them for New South Wales for many years to come. Like, it's even. Did you see on the weekend where? It was a ridiculous try, like Watson dropped the ball, but then Robson scored from dummy half, and Ryan Couchman was just getting into...
Loved it.
Who was it? Whoever he was getting into, the marker that was just lazy in defence that led... And he was just absolutely ripping into him. And it just made me love the Couchman brothers even more. Like, they're all heart. They do so much work. Obviously, Ryan Couchman would be better in the middle from a SuperCoach perspective. I don't think edge is his natural role. Just pump him through the middle for 70 minutes, and as your front row forward partners. And they both have a bit of an offload. They both have pretty good ball playing ability. It just comes down to role and fit. And I think Toby's the one at the moment, but obviously most own Ryan because of how cheap he is.
Dylan Egan returned in New South Wales Cup on the weekend, I believe, got through the game well and scored a try. So that could be really good in terms of Rouchy getting straight back into that middle rotation, because I can't imagine that Young wants to be playing the likes of Blake Laurie big minutes. There is definitely minutes there for the taking.
I know that there might be another Couchman brother in the wings if they could just play half 5'8" or fullback. That might help the Dragons. I think that's where they just have a bit of a need at the moment.
Little need. Tubes, the Warriors versus the Dolphins is the next game. And this one, Jackson Ford has just pumped out 105 in 80 minutes. He had a line break, but the rest was in base plus power. This bloke is just unstoppable. And getting back to your favourite man, Alec, I didn't realise how much you liked Alex Twal until this pod. You really like him, but Chief, surely you like Jackson Ford even more, and he's the same thing where he just is not looking tired or gassed in any way despite these numbers.
Doesn't look tired or gassed. Doesn't feel like he does he just gets through his work. I know Twal does as well. He doesn't look as powerful doing it. Like, he's not getting as many power stats, I don't think. He gets a fair few attacking stats though, I feel. Ford, like, he loves sniffing out a try, obviously had a line break in this game. And so pretty much if he just plays 80 minutes, you know that there's going to be weeks where he's going to do what he did this week and have 100. And there's probably going to be weeks where he gets between 70 and 80. He just absolutely loves it. And yeah, as you said, doesn't get tired at all. And what we saw again, I mean, we've seen him keep playing 80 minutes, but Barnett had a category 1. And so as soon as that happened, I knew Ford's playing 80 minutes this game because he's their man that just mops up the minutes when it needs to happen.
It's Jackson Ford, the mop-up man. Leka Halasima, Tubes. You and I love Leka, but I don't know what's going on with him at the moment. He, in his last 4 games, he's averaging 38.3. He's played 80 minutes in all of those. The base is down. he doesn't seem to be looking, even though the Warriors are going quite well, he doesn't seem to be his explosive self. He's 8% owned. Is that price now at 425K? Do you just think you have to hold now and wait till he bounces back?
Yeah, I think so. It's a weird one. He's still trying to certainly take a lot of high balls, just not as many have come off this year. I think he'll bounce back at some point. I think the Warriors, though, now don't play a game till June in New Zealand. Mm-hmm. So not a ridiculously tough run, but certainly not going to be at home. So I'm not racing to bring any Warriors players over the next few weeks, I don't think.
It's a good point. I was shocked when the commentators said that the other night about what a big wait it is till the next home game. The Dolphins side of things, Trey Fuller has got a few tongues wagging. He's at an 86. He actually played right centre with Jake Averillo filling in at 5'8" with Cody Nicarima suspended. Averillo had one of those, I don't think it's a compound fracture because I think they're not sure if it's a break yet, but the bone came through the skin. So it's either a dislocation or a fracture. That's obviously not going to be a quick injury. It could be 3 or 4 weeks. And then we got the Hammer, who is going to play Origin this year. He's a lock-in for Queensland. And that's really good because they play all 3 major bye rounds. That means you're going to get Trey Fuller at fullback in rounds 12, 15 and 18. Couple more weeks playing centre. He should get dual. That's got to make him a serious option.
Yeah, for sure. If he gets dual, I think they do the next dual round 11 from memory, or after round 11 before the bye period
I think
starts.
That's right,
so,
into 12.
Yeah, he'll be an option for sure, but you're not using him as a fullback spot at the moment until he gets that dual.
Yeah, unless he had a spare flex spot you weren't overly happy with, and he does have a break-even of 93 as well, so I agree it's definitely worth a little bit longer of a wait. Herbie Farmworth, Tubes, you finally bought your ticket for the Love Boat. How did it feel first week as an owner?
Look, it felt pretty good when he scored. Is this his lowest score of the season, though? I know that it's like 80 with a try. It's not exact like it wasn't what the previews were showing me. That's for sure. I felt like I got a bit gypped in week 1, but yeah, it was still nice to own. He looked unbelievable. I think I said he's not just a pretty face; he gets things done. And yeah, looking forward to the rest of the season with him.
Yeah, and look, he was just a bit quiet early in the game. He did kind of step up and get more involved as the game went on, Herbie. Choose Maxi Plath. He's a dual second row forward hooker. He's going to be under 500K with a break-even of 32. His minutes have just suddenly seen a big increase. He had 80 on the weekend. He's gone into the 60s the 2 weeks prior. He is obviously getting a bit of a minutes bump with Jeremy Marshall-King out. And Jeremy Marshall-King said that he was a month away 3 weeks ago in an interview that happened with him through Fox during a game's coverage. I just wonder if Maxi Plath is a good option or if when JMK comes back, he starts to lose a few minutes going through the middle. The flip side is that playing through the middle rotation would be much better for his scoring than playing at hooker.
I think you have to wait till Marshall King's back. The thing with him is he's a base stat monster when he gets the minutes, but I don't think he has that upside. So it's not like he's going to explode over the next few weeks and then suddenly be worth 700K. I think you wait. It would be nice. The dual will be handy with that hooker second row forward flexibility. And he could easily be, if he doesn't play Origin, he could be an option over that period in the hooker rotation that you then put down as your 5th second row forward for the rest of the year. But you really got to wait and see, I think, for what that role's going to look like. He's also, he could be a Billy boy as well and be picked for Origin. So I wouldn't be rushing to get Max Plath, I don't think.
I think that's really good advice because, yeah, he's not going to suddenly score 3 tries in a game and explode in price. Unlike Tubes, the man we'll talk about first in the next game, the Storm versus the Rabbitohs, who Tallis Duncan, I'm calling him Tallis Junkin from now on after he scored 2 great junk tries for the owners. He's at 147. He's not on that dominant Rabbitohs left edge, Tubes, but it almost seems like that might not be a bad thing because when they do go right, he seems to be a real target for the Rabbitohs on that right. It's like they know he's one of their most dynamic options out there.
He is, but why? What was he doing on the left for that last junk try? Like
Cody Walker. Cody Walker went off. Latrell went to 5'8", and Tallis Junkin got moved to left centre.
Yeah, he just can find a try no matter where he is. Just runs such a good line. He's such a great option. I know you brought him in. He's been your boy for a couple of years now. Obviously, being a Souths fan, it's very good to see, and I hope he can take you to glory this year. But I don't think he's an option anymore. He'll be 700K-ish after this week. I think the boat has sailed, and we've talked about a few second row forward options now that I think that you hope to bring in to match him, even though he's got such a great ceiling.
Latrell Mitchell, just Tubes. I mean, all year was the Milky Million. It's going to be the Trelly Trillion. He's actually going to go to $1 million potentially next week. He is up to 960K with a break even of 15. So if he just has a normal game, he should pass that $1 million mark. He had 2 assists. He just looks absolutely unstoppable. And I had some questions. I was like, I wonder with Fafita out, that's one extra target on left that defenders might have been, not going on to Latrell for. In fact, it's gone the opposite. It just means that there's no, there's Fafita, we should get him the ball. It's not, no, let's just go straight to Trell. And Trell is just dominating.
Yeah, he looks great. And it's such a frustrating thing because, and I honestly have given up on my SuperCoach year. Like I love, I know we've talked about this, but I love the joke of playing head to head. But my season's gone so bad that I'm basically gone in every form of SuperCoach.
Not the Ball of Magic Round weekend.
Not the Ball of Magic Round. So it's just been so sad not owning Troll because he's honestly, I love cheering for him. I love cheering for him for New South Wales. But when you aren't cheering for him, you hate him. Like he's your most hated player. Like, cause he does all these things that when you're cheering for him, you love, but when you're against him, like you just hate him for it. And I'd say he must be, if he's not the best SuperCoach or the highest point SuperCoach player this season, he certainly has been the most consistent and just looked the best week in, week out. And, I think everyone that owns will be selling him for around about $1 million just before that Origin period, and then I'll get to cheer for him again for the Blues.
And you can cheer for him guilt-free then, Tubes.
Yeah, guilt-free. Even though my season's done, I still can't. I don't know what it is. You're still always holding on a bit of hope. You're on you're on death row and you're just hoping that final appeal's going to come through or something like that. But yeah, hasn't happened.
Tubes, what about Matt Duffy? I think I know what your answer is going to be for this because you spoke about the value of the fullback spots. But Matt Duffy, he's got probably 2 more weeks left in first grade before Jai Gray's back. He has had 108 this week with a try and a try assist. He had 84 in his first game with a try. He's got exactly 56 in base plus power in both games so far. Negative break even of minus 54. Is there any kind of case, Tubes? The Rabbitohs have the Knights this weekend. Like, could you make a case of bringing in Duffy just as like a really quick, playable cash grab into your SuperCoach team?
Yeah, for sure. I think,
wow.
And I know I said this for Fuller, but I think as a couple of week play in that flex position, I think a lot of people brought in Cooler this week from via Turbo and might have him sitting in the flex. There's obviously now the option to potentially move on a center wing and put Cooler into center wing, and moving on to Duffy might be a really good option. Negative break even next week of minus 54. He could easily ton up against the Knights. He could easily make 150K over the next 2 weeks with big scores. And then by then, Reece Walsh or circa somebody else, Kalen Ponga for 600K might be back. And I don't mind that as a possible play for a couple of weeks.
I think the big thing is just if you have the trades. Like if you're feeling like you're flush with trades, I think it's a really good play.
And the flexibility. Like if you've got if you've got Kinney, Tedesco, Sewer, like you're not doing that. Like, so it really comes down to team setup. But I think if you've got someone in the flex that can be moved around, he's an option for sure.
Brandon Smith, Tubes, he was one of, I think, the second most traded in player this week. Really disappointing for all the new owners and the ones who've held him all year. He had a score of 10. He came off. It was the same calf he hurt last year, but Wayne Bennett did give a good update post-game. Said he could be back as soon as next week, that he didn't strain it again, that he was just playing up a little bit sore. So that's a big watch. And Jerome Hughes on the injury front also had good news. It looked like he was absolutely gone. He copped what looked like a knock to that same forearm and wrist he had a lot of issues with last year, but actually ended up being that he failed a HIA. They've cleared the injury. So he's going to miss next week, but should be back afterwards. Tubes, down to another Tubes pod. Stefano Udakamanu, He had 48 minutes, but this week, 71 in base plus power. It's been a tough few weeks for the Stefano owners. It's good to see him finally have a pretty good performance.
It is. It's just a shame that the minutes would have loved it to be 60 the other night. He was on 55 minutes when there was still 55 points when there was still 30 minutes left in the game. And I thought, geez, his base plus power was unbelievable. But yeah, he doesn't have that role. Clark being a great option, Ballr coming back, their forwards starting to come back. Stefano's just not getting the 60-minute role that he needs to be an actual relevant front row forward, gun or keeper. So yeah, I think that is what it is. I don't know what you do. Like I think there's other problems, so I probably hold it for at least another week. But I do think that he needs to be traded out as soon as possible, realistically, based on other issues.
Tubes, how many Sunday Snap episodes do we talk about how Suo's got saved by a try? And I don't think I've ever seen it in anything like what he did in the weekend. Do you reckon, like, I put this to you in a group chat, but do you reckon it is literally the first time in NRL history that a guy has been the one to kick it off, has picked up the ball of his own kickoff and has scored? Like, I wonder if that's ever happened before.
Surely not. Surely it's never happened. It probably happened in like under 10 A's or something like that. Something like that. But some young gun's probably done it, but I don't think it's ever happened in NRL. It was just crazy, and he sort of just felt like he did it easily. Like he just like, I could do this all the time if I wanted to.
Yeah, he's just like, even though it's not been bad, he still looks very likely every week. Like it's still. I know he's getting saved by an attacking stat in some of these weeks from going small. Like he's had a few now scores written up in the high 60s, low 70s because of a try. But it feels like every game he's going to get that because he's so dangerous. So it doesn't make me feel worried like it would with other players who were being saved like that. Tubes, second last game. Let's get into today's ones. The Knights versus the Panthers. And Dylan Edwards, 152, first half hat-trick and a really nice try assist as well. Just a great game for the people who have him as a pod.
Yeah, unbelievable. The Podfather started talking about him a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was poo-pooed, but yeah, great pod. Still 7.5% ownership, obviously going to play Origin. I can't see how you're bringing him in, but yeah, he can just have these weeks, I suppose, where he's just so dominant for the Panthers. Not normally when Cleary's in the team, but yeah, I guess up against the Knights, anything's possible.
Felt like a bit of a James Tedesco's had a couple of good weeks. People are starting to mention his name for Origin. I'm going to fire up his performance.
Just remind you.
Yeah. Brian To'o, finally. Brian To'o, big bad Brian. He has had 124, 2 tries. And in that second half, he just, like, after just doing nothing in the first half, in the second, just back to his tackle-busting best.
Nothing in the first 7 weeks and first half. He looked like he just stepped back out and he was the new big bad Brian. Looked great. Obviously finished 2 great tries. He's had moments, but that was the first string of a half that he's put together. I mean, he's going to play Origin, but that price is just, he's going to be still sub 500K, and we saw what he can do in one half football. It's still tempting.
I can't, not with only 3 weeks till Origin, but the price is great. And look, for all the people who have just gone through a lot this year holding him, let's hope he gets a bit of value for them. Chiefs, Nathan Cleary, obviously he's busted out 104. He had a try in the first half. This is like becoming a real thing. He was on 80 at halftime. We saw last week he was on like 99 at the half and ended up on 118. What the hell's going on with his second halves?
Don't know. And also when he's been on these, it's felt like he hasn't done anything. Like he's just been like, yeah, he's ready to go. Like I think I messaged you being like, you got to be happy. Like he hasn't done much. He's already on 80 something at halftime. And I think you said it looks like he's ready to explode in the second half. Or
he didn't.
It just didn't. Just like, don't know what's going on. But he's certainly doing enough. And he just solidifies that he's such a safe captaincy option realistically most weeks. But yeah, it just hasn't busted out that 150 plus yet.
And from the Knights, there's not heaps to talk about. We obviously gave a bit of time to Fletcher Sharp already, but Francis Manu Leilua, who was really highly purchased this week as well, Tubes, he's only had a 31, 7 missed tackles, and really disappointingly didn't see out the 80 minutes. I don't think it was like a hooking or an injury. I think it was just part of their rotations, but you really wanted him getting 80. And Barry Toohey gave an update, I believe it was Thursday or Friday, that Lucas is ahead of schedule and Lucas could be back not next week. I think it's the week after. I'd have to go back and check Barry's tweet, but it's just not going to – you're going to make a little bit of quick cash. He's making 40K. He's still got a negative break-even of minus 28, but it's not going to come as – he's not going to be as playable as you hoped, and the cash isn't going to be as big as what you hoped.
Nah. I think – I mean, you still – obviously tough game against the Panthers, your second starting game on an edge. I think owners just have to hope he bounces back next week and maybe gets another attacking stat for a try, and you might get over 100K, and then you either hold him if he gets dropped or you look to move him on. He was still a fine downgrade option this week for those that needed the cash for elsewhere, but yeah, just not exactly what you wanted to see.
No. Yeah, like I said, it's still not a mistake of a trade or anything like that, especially if you already owned Atu Lasardi. I think it's completely fine. Last game of the round, Tubes, the Seagulls versus the Eels, and Lehigh Hopewade has now scored 6 tries in his last 4 games. He had 101 today with a try and an assist. I just find Lehigh so hard. I don't think I could ever confidently own him just because he can go on these really good runs, but he can also have these weird, non-involved, low base plus power weeks as well.
Yeah, he's a tough one. And I think on that left wing, the Manly really need to be dominant. And I don't think I think it's similar. You can't trust Manly to ever be dominant at the moment. So, yeah, well done to the 1.3% of people that own Lehigh Hopewade, and well done to Kieran Foran notching up his 4th win in as many games coaching.
So good. Tubes, I'm using the Ballr player comparison tool again for those watching on YouTube. And this one is purely for you, mate. You've had a long, hard year of Supercoach, but your pod back rowers, Ben Trbojevic and Hormole Olakau'atu, have both had monster games.
Yeah, huge. Burbo 99 with a couple of line breaks and a line break assist, but still 67 in base plus power. And Garrick bombed that try right at the end, which would have been a try assist for him as well to just take him over the 100 mark. Updates to come, so he still probably tips over. And then other one, so he's 650K now. He's probably found his price. Like I bought him a few weeks ago, I think maybe 100K less. So hasn't been the worst, hasn't been the best, but yeah, certainly happy to see the score. The one I really like the look of, and I think even at 700K, particularly if we know that he's not going to make Origin, is Olakau'atu. I brought him in, and today, since Foran's taken over, he's just looked like an absolute beast again. Today he's had 82, all in base plus power. He came off with a few minutes to go as well. He did get put on report, but I think it's fine. I think he'll get a fine. But it just felt like all game he was going to score, or he was going to set up a try or do something. But he ended up having no attacking stats from a line break assist or try, and he still busted out 82 points. I think he's looking like that premium second row forward at the moment. And yeah, hoping it results in some big scores in the next few weeks.
I usually watch the Sunday 4:00 game while I'm cooking dinner on a Sunday, and this is on where I was watching the footy, not checking the scores at all during the game. I couldn't believe 2 things: that Olakau'atu had only got 82 with how good he looked, and I couldn't believe he did not get a single attacking stat that game. Like I expected to see like a line break or something, but he looks so damaging. And yeah, I think obviously tough matchup next week against Penrith, but he is going against the Blaze Talangi Edge Tube, so it's a nice one to own him for.
Blaze has no chance against him. Like Papali's just going to need to be, he's going to need to be on his best form next week with Big Ola running at him.
Well, so IPAP actually also got put on suspension today too, so we'll see if IPAP's even there to help him out. That's a big watch. Tubes, Tolu Kula obviously was really well discussed on both the Ballr podcast and any podcast you could find out there during the week as a big option. Obviously, a lot was made of his average, well over the 80s, even adjusted for the new stats perform. And today was just a weird game. He had 49 with a line assist. He's obviously stayed 44 in base plus power, 14 tackle busts. The big thing that I took out of the game that I couldn't quite figure out what was happening was they made a lot of line breaks, Manly. And as a non-cooler owner, every single time they made a line break, I was like, oh no, he's going to be just there waiting for an inside pass.
He wasn't.
And he was never there. What was going on?
Don't know. He feels like sometimes he just has these games, and I don't know what it is about. He still ran the ball hard. Maybe he was focused on what his role was at fullback. It's his first week under foreign. It's his first week under foreign, as the starting fullback. He did a lot of little things right in that fullback role, and he was certainly returning the ball very hard. But yeah, just wasn't doing all of those extra things and playing with that confidence or free flowing confidence you might have seen in other periods of time. So I think he'll have a big few weeks. Obviously Penrith next week, and you probably wanted a big game from him today if you brought him in. But yeah, you're just holding. But I think you're not buying next week probably against the Panthers.
You probably wait
93 still. Yeah.
Wait till the week after, I think.
Yeah.
But I still think for the people who did bring this week, it's going to work out to be a good long-term buy. It's obviously just when you go that week early, you're hoping for a big score. Chiefs, the last one out of this game from the Eels, I know nothing about this guy. I'm hoping maybe some Eels fans in the Ballers Only Discord can give me some more info. But Saxon Pryke, he has played 57 minutes today for a score of 46. He got a bit of a boost due to the Dylan Walker injury. He's backing up. He's 49 in only 39 minutes, all in base plus power from last week. 22 years old, break even to minus 28. Like, if he's going to hold that role, he could be an okay downgrade option. But at the same time, I know not enough about him or the Parramatta mountain of injuries to know if he's going to be able to carve out a consistent role.
Yeah, I know nothing about him. He's not on my RTE list, so can't help you out there, Johnny.
Tubes, let's get into the final segment of the show, the big baller moves, brought to you by the Ballr Team Builder tool. When you are waiting bored on Monday morning for that SuperCoach app to open, you don't need to. You can get over to ballr.live, get in the Team Builder tool, and you can start playing around with your trades right now. They've also added the feature, or adding the feature where you can change your salary cap as well to go with what's been happening in the real world. So, Tubes, what are your way too early trade thoughts coming into round 9?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it at all before this episode, but I like to. I've got a little bit of cash in the bank. I'm thinking I could do Purdue to Sharp, or could figure out a way to get Sharp into the team for next week. And I don't mind the idea of getting Xavier Willison in at $550K. I've got a bit of money, as I said, so that could be a Noah Martin slight upgrade, sort of sideways, but I certainly think as the role. So they're probably the two that I'm eyeing off at the moment, but I might end up holding fire and making none this week, to be honest. I've got to save some trades for the week after heading into Magic Round, but I may also do a deeper dive on Magic Round and figure out who I need to bring in for the Ballers competition to win my Origin tickets.
It's a tricky trade week. There's Tubes. I mean, the one for me is if Adu Lasardi is finally named, he will be a priority trade to get into my team. I'm taking a massive look at Fletcher Sharp, maybe from Ethan Sanders, maybe from Jackson Purdue. And I'm also going to be taking a look at this Jonathan Sewer. If we can get a little bit more clarity from the Dogs around what's going on with Tuala and Kidaz, and it seems like he's got some job security, I think he's a great bring in this week as well for Leo and Makasini owners. So I can't give as much clarity on a Sunday night as what I'm normally feeling, because I feel like there's still a lot up in the air that I need to peruse through. So hopefully by Tuesday, I can give a bit of a better update. If not, Tubes, we always post our trades in the Ballers Only Discord on a Thursday before the first game too. So it'll be there at some stage.
Well, you do. No one wants to hear mine anymore, so I've stopped.
Yes, they do.
But Jono, I wanted to hear your trades because I wanted to tell you to rack off with how good your team is. But good luck this week, Daddy Top 5. I'm looking forward to seeing the rankings where it comes out tomorrow, because you are absolutely flying.
Cheers, Tubes. It's been good fun. Tubes, it's also been good fun just to have you back on the pod. I'll be back on Tuesday with your brothers Matt and Dan for the Round 9 TLT. And as always, please get out there on all the social pages. Search for Ballr NRL, Ballr SuperCoach. Like, follow, subscribe, comment. We appreciate every single person who does it. And if you want to come and have a chat with Tubes and I and some other great people in the Ballers Only Discord, please head over to baller.live/Discord and join us. Tubes, you got any last thoughts or do you want to take us home?
You beauty.
Oh, there it is. There it is.